It is a special holiday edition of our At Home with the Who's presented by UVA Vascular here on Star Wars Day 2020. And who better to catch up with than Hoo Kenobi himself, former Wahoo baseball star and current pitcher for the Washington Nationals. Sean Doolittle is kind enough to share a little bit of his time and joining us from, I guess, somewhere in the Dagobah system or something like that. Thanks for spending some time with us. How you doing today?
Thanks for having me. Happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you.
Well, thank you. And also with you. Your Twitter handle is Sean Kenobi Doolittle, and your avatar also relates to the movie. So it goes without saying, and safe to say you're a big fan of the franchise?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's just ever since I was a kid, man. And I've been a huge Star Wars fan.
Where did it all start for you? Where does this come from?
I don't know. Like, I think I was in that perfect age group where, like, I had seen the movies when I was a kid, the original trilogy, episodes 4, 5, and 6, and I loved them. And then, like, shortly after I saw them for the first time, the prequels started to come out, and the prequels, say what you want about them, but like I was in that sweet spot where I was just they like re-energized my fandom. Like it was just more Star Wars at a time when that was such like a formative time. I think the first one came out, and Phantom Menace came out in '99, so I was like 12 or 13. And I was just hooked, man, right from the get-go.
Yeah, did you have the toys when you were a kid? I'm gonna have a little bit of this
I had some of the Legos. I used to, you could build like the Millennium Falcon and some of the other like ships, the X-Wings and stuff like that. I had a video game for N64. I was all in like from a pretty early age, and it's always just been something I've been really into.
So where does this holiday, May 4th, rank for you? Is it Christmas? Where do we put this one?
Hey man, it's pretty up there. It usually falls during the season, and a lot of teams have a Star Wars Day on May 4th, or so like I miss celebrating it with everybody, but I'll have time to do maybe a Star Wars movie marathon or something like that. But it's always a day that's definitely circled on the calendar for us.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. I mean, this is the big question. If you got to rate the top three in the franchise, where are you going? Where are you starting? And what rounds it out?
Empire is number one, and people might get mad at me, but I have Last Jedi number two, and then like those are the only two spots that in my rankings that are like rock solid.
Yeah.
The rest of it seems to change, usually based on like recency bias or like which one I've watched most recently. But for this, I will put I'm gonna put A New Hope at 3, Episode 4. It has its flaws, but sentimentally it's always going to be towards the top of my list just because it was the first one and it was so groundbreaking and launched everything that the Star Wars universe has become.
If you could change anything, what would you change to the storyline if you had the ability to do it?
Yeah, I would change a lot about Rise of Skywalker. It's still a Star Wars movie, so I loved it. There were parts of it, I was in the theater, I was crying because I was like, there were parts of it that were incredibly moving. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. Like I have it on my computer. I've watched it multiple times since then. Like I love it. I don't want people to think like I'm getting mad online about this movie. Like I liked it. There were just some things towards the end that I would have done different. Okay.
So we told you we had our executive producer for this, Mr. Jim Daves, has given us these props. So now this is the movie that they were all evidently based on, the 1958 samurai movie, The Hidden Fortress, the inspiration for George Lucas and this whole thing. Now you're in lockdown. You haven't seen this yet, I understand. Is that right?
I have not seen that. I've heard about it. I'm familiar with it, but I have not seen it, and I really am looking forward to diving into that. And I also heard that in addition to Hidden Fortress, Dune, the book series, was also something that was influential really for like the sci-fi genre in general, but especially Star Wars. So with this downtime, I'm gonna really go down a rabbit hole and see what I can find.
There you go. All right. So if you could play one character, who would it be in all the Star Wars movies?
I think it'd be Chewie.
Yeah.
Like I think that like I got the hair for it maybe, but like um I think like it fits my personality where I can kind of sit back and provide a little bit of comic relief and some observational humor. But I can still handle a crossbow and you know get my hands dirty when I need to. I think my favorite villain is Boba Fett. Like I know he doesn't really have a lot of lines, but I there's something about his armor, his costume, his vibe. Like it's mysterious. You don't hear him really say, but more than a couple lines in the entire trilogy. But he's always been one of my favorites, which is weird because he's a bad guy. But like he's always been one of my favorites.
So with that as the drop, the backdrop, how did the Mandalorian sit with you? Did you watch?
Uh, Unbelievable, unbelievable. It was like I think it might be my favorite Star Wars thing maybe ever. To be honest with you, I thought it was so well done. I had so much fun with it. It filled me with a lot of hope. Now that the Star Wars saga is over, I'm a huge Baby Yoda fan. I would die for Baby Yoda. I don't care like what anybody says. Baby Yoda.
Most obsessive Star Wars related thing that you've ever done is
When we dressed up to go to the opening of Force Awakens when that came out. We were living in Arizona at the time, and my wife was shopping in Target for just stuff, and she like came across like these Star Wars costumes, and she bought them. I wasn't even with her. Like that's how awesome she is. She just bought them.
and our last Star Wars question, perhaps the most important of all. This is you ready?
I think so.
Did Han shoot first?
Oh, I thought that's where you were going with this. As much as I hate to admit it, I think he did. And I know this has kind of been a little conspiracy theory amongst Star Wars fans for a long time. I think we've actually seen a couple different versions in a couple of the re-releases. But I think when it was all said and done, knowing what we know now, I think Han did shoot first.
All right, it is all the Star Wars you can handle from the one and only Obi-Wan Kenobi. That would be the one and only Sean Doolittle. Sean, thanks for joining us, and maybe we'll catch up a little more here tomorrow on some of those other topics that weren't maybe as Star Wars related.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Today's edition of At Home with HOOS is presented by UVA Vascular. At UVA Vascular, they treat the full spectrum of vascular diseases. To see a full list of conditions they treat and to learn more, visit uvahealth.com/vascular.